It Comes at Night is a thriller film directed and written by Trey Edward Schultz and mainly starring Joel Edgerton. And it's an interesting movie that I enjoyed, but as a whole, there just wasn't enough movie to it.
I just want to talk. And I want honest answers. Do you have any idea what's going on out there?
So I knew very little about the film, like from the trailers, which were really good at kind of setting like a scary sort of film up. But this film is not scary at all. And it's tough to talk too much about it without spoiling things. So at a certain point, I'll switch to a spoiler review. But until then, I'll try to keep it a little bare bones. So the film features two families that come together in some sort of post-apocalyptic world. Now, very little is explained about what caused it, but it doesn't even really matter, you could say. It's basically these two families get shoved together and they have to deal with what are they lying? Are they bad guys? Are they okay? Are they infected? Are they they have to we're gonna live together for years, or like they kind of have to figure out each other and survive. Now again, to say too much more than that is kind of a spoiler. So if you want to go into the movie completely fresh, I guess you gotta stop the review now. Like I say that, I'll get a little more about that's not a spoiler, but I mean the acting is great. The story is very bare bones, and there's not enough of it. The dialogue, when they have it, is good, but there's a way over reliance on dream sequences from the son of Joel Edgerton. There's way too many dream sequences, and they're not that interesting. Like, I don't really see the point of them having that many of them. Like, every night he goes to sleep, there's a dream sequence, and it's kind of goofy. And I think there's a lot of symbolism in this movie, but if you're gonna have symbolism, you still need some sort of story for the movie itself, and this movie doesn't really have that. I mean, it feels like the director and writer was trying to be really smart with this film, but it just isn't that smart. Like, he thinks it's really smart, but it really isn't. And it's not a bad film. Like, I left it kind of enjoying it, and then the more I thought about things, the more problems I had with it, because there are things in the movie that make zero sense, and they never even attempt to explain it. And then just in general, there's no exposition. There's one scene that has the tiniest bit of exposition. But other than that, we don't know anything about the world or who these people are. And it's weird how little we know. Like, I know not much more than I knew after watching the first trailer. It just is very odd. And, would I recommend this film? Not really. I mean, you could enjoy it if you go and see it, but you don't need to go out of your way to see it, I don't think. But it's not a bad film. And I look forward to seeing what the director does next. So on to spoilers. Well, again, there's not too much I can spoil, because I don't know a lot, but it seems that there's some sort of post-apocalyptic world, and there's some sort of disease that spread out through all the cities and was killing everyone. Is it zombies? I don't know. Because the only zombie sort of thing is when the kid is dreaming, and it's his dead grandfather, the zombie. And the only thing is that whenever the people get sick, they shoot them before they die to kill them in the head. So that makes you think that they don't want them to turn, because if they're just dying, then just let them die. They wouldn't have to kill them before they die. But also, I like that how virulent it is, like how deadly how easily it's contracted. One thing that sometimes annoys me in zombie films is that it's only when they get bite that it transfers, but it's not when they're bashing skulls in and getting covered in blood they don't get infected. When this one, I guess the little kid just touched a dog that was infected, and then the older kid touched the little kid, and then they affected everyone pretty much. It's like, that's some pretty extreme virus. And that's interesting, but at the same time, it causes problems because, again, this is now a full spoiler for the film, because the little kid for the family that comes into their house, he somehow can reach up and open the deadbolt. And the kid is small. I really don't know if he could reach it. Like, in the film, they talk about he could barely reach it. And they never go any further about explaining how the door was open, the red door. And I really don't... Could he have opened it? I'm not sure. That's a heavy deadbolt, and you have to reach up. He'd have to get something to stand on, I think. And then he'd have to open that, and he'd have to... And his biggest thing, too, the dog that is somehow infected by something. Like, you don't say he wasn't, like, he was dying. It looked like he had something that had clawed at his belly. They're saying that, like, an infected human, like, tried to eat him and he ran away and the infected blood was on him, or that he was infected himself and his blood, like, infected. I mean, that'd be tough. Because human to dog transfer of a virus is a big deal. And they just kind of go right by it. And, like, how'd the dog get into the house? Because the main house is all boarded up and locked with the key that's only around Joe Edgerton's neck. And the other red door is just a deadbolt. So the dog would have had to somehow get into the house when it's deathly ill, dying. And the kid would have had to hear it, and I guess it was sleepwalking, and open the door and go to play with the dog and go back and lay somewhere else, even though he didn't show any blood or anything on him. And then the older kid had to come, he woke him up, and then he found the open door. And it just doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know what they were thinking here. And also, like, there's some scenes that are really tense, and those scenes are great in this film. Like, especially, I love this one scene where Joe Edgerton and the other dad were, like, talking over some whiskey or bourbon or something, and they're telling each other their stories, and you find out, a little bit of backstory for these characters. So Joe Edgerton was a teacher, and this other guy was a mechanic, but he was a mechanic, but he was running his car without any oil, and his car broke down, so he had to stop at his brother's house. But then he says that he was an only child, and he tries to cover it saying, as my sister, as my wife's brother, as my brother-in-law, but it feels like my brother. And you see him, like, going, like, his story is not true, and like, what's going on here? And it's a really cool scene, and they never do a scene like that again. Like, they never say, was he, like, is he lying? You don't know. It's just so weird. There's also these great scenes with the older kid lusting after the mom that comes in, the new mom, not his mom. And she, like, kind of notices that, and they ask him, how old are you? And it's like, it's this cool little scene, and then he has a dream of her. And, I mean, it's cool, but they never do more with it. They never develop it. Like, I needed more exposition scenes. Instead of multiple scenes with them chopping wood and doing nothing, like, around the house, they could have had the two mothers talking to each other, like, and trying to figure out, like, if they are what they say they are. And you could have had, like, even the older son talking to the younger son, trying to figure things out, maybe getting him to tell them what they were actually doing. But they never have enough tension. Like, for a large part of the film, it's like a happy, like, everyone's getting along together, and then stuff then happens, and like, now we're evil again, now we hate each other again. And it bothered me, like, after the film, when I have no answers for anything. And, like, they're in this house cabin, like, 80 miles away from civilization, and you have no idea where they are. They never mention where they are, just that they're, like, 80 miles away from the city. And, like, there's no telling feature of the forest. Like, it reminded me of I live in Pennsylvania, so it reminded me of the woods around Pennsylvania. But they don't mention where they are at all. They don't mention anything. And, like, it's weird because this guy says the Joe Edgerton says that he's a teacher, but if he's 80 miles from civilization, like, where is he teaching? I mean, did he have to drive 80 miles to go to work? Or is this their cabin? And this is a big cabin. How could he have this, like, from a teaching salary? And, well, I mean, it seems, maybe it's not as big as it seems, but it seems like a really huge building, and they're only in the smaller part of it, like, because it's behind 2 locked doors. And there's so many things that you just don't know. Like, earlier on, there are these people that attack them when they're riding in a truck, and they shoot the tire out, and they kill them. And they never find out what was with them. And was this other family? Were they bad guys? Were they trying to do something? You don't know, and it bothered the hell out of me. Like, when I was watching, I was kind of enthralled by the movie. But the more and more I thought about it, the more annoyed I became about the film. So it's tough to score a film like this, but I'd probably give it like a 7.75 out of 10. Like, it's not a bad film, it needed more. Like, and it's not that short of a film. I mean, it's not a long film, but there was time to put other really dramatic scenes into the film. Like, and when I first saw, like, the dog was dead, like, on the other side of the room, I thought, because there's no way for the dog to get in, I thought, oh, there must be another group of humans that killed their dog and opened their doors and threw it in there as a warning. And it's like, no, the dog just somehow crawled in. Okay, I guess. Like, I thought there was going to be a bigger climax, but the climax it turns into, hey, we want to leave. I don't want you to leave. Well, I'm going to leave. No, you don't leave. Bam, 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 bam. Oh, we're all dead. Oh, that's too bad. And it's weird. Like, I don't know. Like, it's a film that people could enjoy, but it's not what the trailer offered. So, thanks for watching. You can subscribe to me over here, or check out some of my other playlists for my videos. And thanks.